Welcome to Barrels to Batteries, Decoding Energy's Next Chapter, an Enerdatics podcast. I'm your host, Mohit Kaul. For those of you who are new here, Enerdatics is world's leading energy market intelligence platform, combining deep data, sharp analytics with consulting and advisory support for companies across the energy value chain. In season one, I sit down with startup founders who are reshaping the energy system from hydrocarbons to electrons, from legacy scale to innovation. Each episode, we explore their journey, the pivotal decisions they have made, and their vision for what's next. So let's get started. Today, I'm joined by someone who's transforming how renewable energy projects get discovered, evaluated, and financed. Carmen is the founder and CEO of nTeaser, a digital marketplace that's redefining how developers and investors connect, bringing more efficiency, transparency, and structure to the industry. Before starting nTeaser, Carmen spent years in infrastructure, M&A, advisory roles across Spain, across Europe, working directly with energy companies, investors, and on major projects. What stands out about her journey is how she blends deep engineering and financial expertise with practical understanding of what slows down deals and what it really takes to scale renewable energy projects. She's thoughtful, forward thinking, and she's building a platform that would genuinely change how capital flows into clean energy projects. Carmen, great to have you here. Appreciate you taking the time.
Thank you so much, Mohit. Thanks a lot for having me here and for inviting me to the podcast.
Thank you. Thank you. So we'll dive, right in. I'm thinking of asking you some questions about your journey, of course, teaser and the innovation you're bringing in, and then perhaps towards the end talk about how you and I think the future of energy M&A is going to evolve and what role in our own little way can you and I play in it. So let's get started. So as I understand, you're a trained industrial engineer and you started your career in infrastructure and M&A before starting nTeaser. What was the moment you realized that renewable project space or renewable finance space had deeper problems that were worth solving?
Yeah, it was quite early in my career. I realized something was fundamentally broken in the transaction I was advising. At that moment, I was advising large corporates and funds at an advisory firm, and later supporting some processes independently. And the pattern was always the same. So the market was full of small intermediaries who weren't adding real value. Processes were completely manual, and nothing was standardized. Everything at that time happened through endless emails, Excel files. You know what I mean.
Yes.
And also at that time, here in Spain, the volume of both sides in money transactions was exploding. So there was many more buyers, many more sellers, many more projects. So it was almost impossible to match supply and demand efficiently. And also there was that strange culture of secrecy. So developers felt they had to hide that they were selling, even though everyone actually would find out. So that created information asymmetry and disorganized processes and a complete lack of traceability. And in a sector like the energy sector where speed matters a lot, I mean, deals were taking far too long. And well, I was experiencing that, and my personal trigger was that more potential clients or more clients were approaching me, and simply I couldn't help them all. I mean, I could help one, two clients at the same time. So I had neither the bandwidth or the tools. So that's when it became for me clear that the industry didn't need another advisor. It needed infrastructure to support the advisors, to support the deals, something scalable, transparent, something digital. So that's when nTeaser was born. And Marketplace decided to connect developers and investors efficiently and bring transparency and efficiency to the entire process.
Got it. Got it. I think there were some interesting points here. Of course, you started with the things being fundamentally broken, and a lot of us start off that point where we realize something in our little part of the industry is fundamentally broken. Of course, the part that where you spoke about Excel files and just the lack of transparency, right? And the problems that could be solved with this focus on maybe technology first or digital, maybe transparency first kind of a thought process. If I can just probe a little bit more on this and go deeper, was there a specific, let's say, frustration or a gap that you kept seeing, right? In all of this, what was that was recurring, that you really frustrated you to say, hey, this needs to be solved?
I reached the point where I wanted to build things the way I believe they should be done. So with ethics, with clarity, with efficiency, with a fair price, something that was scalable for everybody. Well, I spent years seeing the same problems repeat themselves without anyone truly fixing them. So I thought the market desperately needs a more transparent approach, more efficient approach. And of course, there was this technological opportunity with the startups booming at that moment. In many other industries, you could see B2B marketplaces that had already transformed how buyers and sellers were connecting. But in renewable energy, even though a few platforms already existed at that time, they didn't seem to be solving the real problem. Adoption was low, the user experience wasn't compelling, and in many cases, they operated more like disguised advisors rather than like the technological platform or marketplaces. So the core inefficiencies is still, were there. The timing for me it felt right because the sector here in Spain is where I started. There was a lot of gigawatts that needed to be developed and they needed to reach the right capital. So, and that it was like 3 or 4 years ago here in Spain. There was an unprecedented amount of capital looking for efficient ways to be deployed. So I think nTeaser was like a natural response to the market. If the market if other people weren't going to build it, then I would, and I did it.
Excellent. That's a great approach. And let's go deeper into nTeaser now, right? So for our listeners, I made a brief introduction, and please feel free to add. But nTeaser is a digital marketplace, and it essentially connects renewable energy developers and investors. In our work at Enerdatics, also, we often see that developers and capital struggling to find each other at the right moment. And we see that often. Market visibility still feels incredibly fragmented. So, what is the core promise that you are making within Teaser? And also, for benefit of our listeners, how does it differ from how things have been traditionally done? And, feel free to talk about Spain or other countries. But that's what I want to bring out here. What's the core promise that nTeaser brings in, and how does it differ from how things have been traditionally done?
Yeah. Mhm. So yes, nTeaser connects developers and investors. That's clear, but it's in a structured and efficient way. So our promise is straightforward: is bring transparency, bring speed, and bring standardization to a market that traditionally, as I said, has operated through emails, Excels, and personal networks. So instead of chasing, thanks to nTeaser, instead of chasing information or intermediaries, both sides finally have one place where the entire process happens, so they can match at the right moment. So it makes us different. That approach to the ecosystem really makes us different. We're not trying to replace, for example, we're not trying to replace advisors. We're collaborating with them. Many transactions need professional advisors involved. So on nTeaser, they can structure deals properly. They can reach the right sellers at the right moment. They can reach the right buyers also at the right moment. So that's another thing that nTeaser it's quite different. So it's not a platform versus advisors. It's a platform that elevates everyone's efficiency. And just to bring some numbers, today it already brings together more than 200 projects in Europe, over 3,000 renewable energy companies across Spain, Italy, Poland, Germany, the UK, and of course we're expanding to very new markets. And our final goal would be to become the one-stop shop for renewable energy transactions. So a single place to make all these developers, investors, and advisors manage the full life cycle of a deal from discovery to due diligence in a super efficient and transparent way.
Got it. And I think Carmen, you made a great point there, and that those are three words that I wrote: elevate everyone's efficiency. I think that's really a fantastic mission to have, where you are essentially elevating everyone's efficiency into delivering something exceptional for the industry. But let's take this question in two parts. So what we have seen is that information still in the world of project finance and M&A is scattered. It's inconsistent, and that's what we get to do to see at Enerdatics. And it's often not what investors actually need to underwrite risk. So from your point of view, what do you believe amongst everything that you talked about? What do you think, what is still broken in terms of efficiency and transparency, and how are you trying to fix that? Having accomplished all of those things with nTeaser now, what do you think is still broken? How can we elevate everyone's efficiency more?
Well, I think a lot of what's still broken becomes very clear when you look at deals that don't go through nTeaser, so like the
Hmm.
traditional way. So most of them are still super opaque. The information is very fragmented, and the process moves incredibly slow. So there's also very little traceability, and no one really knows what happened and when with a deal, who saw what, who or why it failed. So we can see that in also in some of our new geographies where you still see those sorts of intermediaries that who don't really add value, which create and they create noise on the process. So we see that's one of the main things that are still broken. I would say that what we've done at nTeaser, it's brings structure. So we make every project follow a clear and standardized format. We
Hmm.
verify the information, of course, before it goes live, but that alone already saves developers and investors a huge amount of time. So everybody has all the information at the very beginning. The second big thing is matching. Investors only advance with opportunities that actually fit their strategy, and it's not the other way. So they are the ones taking the first step. They're able to see dozens of live projects, but maybe they are not the technology they're looking for at that moment or the development status they're looking for or the sites, wherever. So that's why they take the first step. And then there's a speed. I mean, it comes
Great.
naturally. So in nTeaser, you can connect with prospective buyers at the right moment in days, I would say, instead of months, like it's been traditionally done.
Got it. Thank you. Thank you for that detail. I think one aspect that I caught there was when you mentioned about data and information. So that's where I'm heading to next. So people often talk about, or platforms talk about, how their aspiration is to level the playing field in terms of access to capital, right? Everybody's trying to democratize something. But as I see it, it only works when there is strong underlying data. Now, today, investors rely on heavy benchmarking. They would rely on track records. They would rely on structured information even before they engage. You're looking at a lot of this externally. Like I can add to this, our customers at Enerdatics, to cut through the noise, you know, they would be, developers would use our data to identify who could be potential buyers. Investors could benchmark our data to understand if an opportunity is worth the dollars or not. Advisors would rely, our data to look at track records. So as you scale at nTeaser, right, how do you ensure that the deals on nTeaser maintain that level of quality that you're talking about today? And how do you think about things like risk management, knowing that efficiency for users increasingly depends on disciplined, reliable data, right? So all
Yeah.
this information that you talked about, I think that's what I want to get into, that how do you think about the risk management or that information discipline or data discipline? How do you talk about that to your clients when you are kind of uploading the data onto your systems? So let's just talk about bit about those reliable data information that you spoke about.
Yeah. So first of all, regarding the first thing that was quality, for us, quality starts with preparation. So there's
Good
not a
point.
good or bad project. There's a project that is not prepared. So for every project that goes live to the platform, we review all the information, we check everything, and we help the developers present it in a clear and consistent way. So there's like standard forms for every project. These are generated automatically, so there's no mistakes. And we also use AI to clarify and structure the documentation so investors get something clean and easy to analyze from day one. There's also platforms like Enerdatics that help a lot of these sellers to prepare the deal, to know what to expect, how's the market behaving. And on the risk side, we stay very close to our vision. I mean, we only do things that scale. That's I was saying at the very beginning. We only want we want to scale. So that's why we don't advise, we don't negotiate, we don't take positions in the deals.
Makes
Our
sense.
role is to give the structure, the visibility, and the efficiency. Also to give access to the best advisors. And when a process, I mean, if it needs an advisor, some processes need deeper advisor work. So that's why we partner with these advisors. So that way the marketplace can grow fast, but the quality and professionalism of the transactions stay high. Partner with our people, I would say.
Got it. Got it. Got it. You gave my marketing team a great line. I can tell you, quality starts with preparation. I think that's so incredible, especially in the world of, we have seen, I have seen messed up data rooms, right? So it's really, really crucial that preparation is given due importance in the whole strategy and execution and acceleration of getting a deal done. I think preparation is a great starting point. Next, let's look at near term horizon. Let's look at, let's say, 2 to 3 years ahead. Where do you see is the biggest opportunity that perhaps others are overlooking in this clean energy project finance domain that you operate in? At, like I'll give you an example. At Enerdatics, we are seeing growing demand for visibility earlier in the life cycles, right? People want to understand if something is early stage or mid stage, what does that mean? Or even if something is RTB, is it truly RTB, right?
Yeah.
So people want understanding on pipelines and interconnection progress and development milestones, and sometimes platforms may not look at that as a significant opportunity. So I sometimes feel that early stage projects are interesting as well. But besides that, where are you thinking of how you are thinking about positioning nTeaser for what comes next in the next 2 to 3
Yeah.
years?
For us, well, for me, I think the biggest opportunity is to make the whole transaction happen inside nTeaser, inside the platform. So not just the moment when a project is listed or discovered, which is right now we are working on this. So I would say what is missing on the M&A market, it's a true end-to-end workflow, standardized workflow. So as said, thanks to nTeaser, we help prepare the information and give the visibility. Many other sellers in our country, they prepare documentation on their own, then they open a data room somewhere else, then the coordination with buyers happens via email, and then the transaction gets negotiated in another space. So it's all fragmented. You're losing data and information on every step of the process. And what we want is to bring all that into one single place. So nTeaser should help sellers get ready, help sellers structure the information, help build a data room, and then let the full transaction and negotiation from the first interaction to closing happen in the same platform, in a single place. So even the ability to bring these advisors should be also through the platform. So everything it's on the same place. Your technical advisor, your financial advisor, your legal advisor, all on the same place. And if we do this right, and nTeaser would definitely become the one-stop shop for renewable energy M&As, which is our objective at the end. A simple, professional, and transparent place to buy and sell, and maybe also finance projects, and of course in Europe, in a European scale.
Perfect, perfect. And I think this kind of blends in very nicely. You talked about the vision of nTeaser being simple, professional platform. I think that's excellent. And here's where I'm tempted to ask you more questions, founder to founder. As a founder who's leading in this space that is what I would call as tech enabled, but
Yeah.
also deal heavy. So what kind of traits or mindset matter most for you and your team, especially as you scale up different countries, different geographies, perhaps different technologies? What are those, that mindset or trait that matters most to your team?
So the mindset of the team is it means everything. We're in a space that mixes, like we're in a space that mixes technology with sensitive transactions, sensitive data. So we need people that are very operational and very focused on solving real problems for users. Many details mean a lot. So we also look for an obsession with quality and accuracy. I would say adaptability is key too. Well, in fact, this is in every startup. It doesn't matter if it's energy or not, especially in the energy sector where everything moves super fast and every country works differently. So we need people that can adjust easily and quickly without losing the bigger picture. Another big part, I would say, it's collaboration. So in our company, in nTeaser, tech, business, and energy expertise have to work together every day, and it's what makes us strong. And finally, to be honest, I think there's one more thing. Probably it's also for every startup, but people need to truly believe in nTeaser and in the problem we are solving. So that's like the main thing. If I can't bring people on board who's not convinced about what we are doing, about the mission, about the problem we're solving. So conviction is a superpower here.
Absolutely. I think that the honesty side of the business is so important. When something is technology heavy, it's very difficult. Like I was once talking to somebody who said that I only trust things that I can look into the eye. So it's really really interesting that you put honesty there in your list as well. And here, as nTeaser expands into geographies, I know Italy, Poland, Germany is what you've spoken about. How do you see the diversity? How do you see the diversity of people, the diversity of talent affecting the future here of the industry in general, or maybe marketplace? You can talk about either ways, but how do you see diversity, making an impact?
Yeah, in general, I think that companies need to have diverse talent, no matter which companies or which country or which type of industry. So when people comes from different backgrounds, they challenge assumptions, they bring new perspectives, and they reduce the risk of building solutions based on a single point of view. So in fast-growing industries like ours, diversity is not a nice to have. I think it's what drives better decisions and ultimately better products. And this matters even more at nTeaser because we work with extremely diverse clients. Our users include developers, fans, IPPs, service providers, all operating differently and coming from dozens of different countries and cultures. So if our team doesn't reflect that variety, you simply don't understand the needs of the market as well. And inside nTeaser, I would say we take this very seriously. We're already a very multicultural and multilingual team. We mix people with different experiences inside and outside the energy sector. That combination helps us build a marketplace that feels genuinely European and not limited to one type of profile or one way of thinking. And we also believe that this culture of multivariety, it creates an open and meritocratic culture. Also, talent is very important in our company. Young talent in the company has impact from since day one. So, yeah.
God, that's great to know. That's something that has often fascinated me about Europe is just the diversity, right? The countries and languages and cultures and lifestyles and that are so diverse.
Yeah.
As you try to scale up, every country is a completely new challenge, right? You essentially
Yes.
don't have a playbook that you replicate. It's just so interesting. It's very interesting what you said. That sums it up really well about it should feel European, right? At the end of it, still trying to get that diversity to work together. That is so interesting. So let's say on that point, let's fast forward. We talked about 2-3 years. Let's talk about 5-10 years.
Mhm.
So what do you think as a founder when people talk about nTeaser? What kind of impact or legacy do you want to see in the long term, both from a company point of view, but also from an industry point of view, how things would have changed? What do you see? What kind of impact or legacy would you like to leave behind?
I want people to say that we turned something once seen as impossible into the new market standard. So we have some users that already tell us that, some heavy users, and that's exactly the direction where we want to accelerate. That nTeaser becomes a digital infrastructure where all renewable M&A happens. More professional, transparent, and efficient way to get deals done. And also to bring together more liquidity, more investors, more opportunities, and make all this process move quickly. Ideally, I would say every serious project in Europe has to pass at some point through nTeaser at some point of its life cycle. And as a company, as a team, I would love to be known as a genuinely international team, multicultural, multilingual, as I was saying before, a reference for how to build a marketplace that brings together energy, technology, and business in a completely new way. Maybe at a more inspirational level, I'd love our legacy to be that we change how capital flows into green projects, that we lower the barriers for developers, for investors, and proved that we can innovate in a complex and traditional sector without losing without losing your mind. If we achieve that, I'd be very happy. And Teaser would have played a meaningful role in the energy transition, definitely.
Absolutely. And when you say, innovation in a traditional sector, I'm sure our users will understand, and I understand definitely that it's not easy. It's not easy. There is always a certain inertia to change that is there, and what founders like you are trying to do is a tough job, right? It's not easy to innovate in a traditional sector. Another point that I really liked, and it was repeated a few times in our discussion today, was this beautiful vision that everything should happen within nTeaser. That is for anybody listening to the podcast, I think it's really interesting that you got to have that kind of a target, right? When you're building something as a founder, if you say that, okay, this is what I'm going to align all my efforts to, that everything always happens within nTeaser, or any product that person is trying to build, whatever is that one dream that they want to chase. I think this is a beautiful dream that somebody should chase. Uh, and so let's do this. This is perhaps the last question that I have, is that, let's say, for someone who's just getting into the renewable energy industry, right? This space of finance and M&A, either as an advisor, marketplace, on the developer, anywhere. What's that one piece of advice that you would have for, you know, a young girl or boy, 22, 23-year old who's getting into the industry? What would be your advice for them?
I would say it's understand your users. So talk to them constantly. Don't design from an office. I mean, design from real conversations. Design a product with your developers, with the investors, with the people that are actually using your platform, and focus on solving an actual problem, not building nice technology. Also, it's very important to surround yourself with people who truly believe in the mission and mix different types of talent. So energy, tech, data, business, etc. That's a combination that can make a company very, very strong. And finally, this is an advice for any startup founder in any industry. It's move fast and stay flexible. So in the energy sector, everything changes super quickly and your product has to evolve with it every single day.
That's a great point. I mean, move fast and stay flexible. This reminds me of something that I read very early on when I started, was that if the first version of the product that you launch is beautiful, you launched it too late. So,
Yes,
so I
definitely.
think you got to move fast. Listen to your customers. What you just said. Bring a version in front of them. They would tell you what to do next with it. But yeah, I think staying flexible to that kind of feedback and listening to your users. I think all of those are fantastic points. So, Carmen, thank you so much for joining us today. I think your perspective on how marketplace can reshape the way projects get discovered, evaluated, transacted, financed. I think that's incredibly valuable. Your journey shows you've been thoughtful in innovation, especially in a traditional space that we spoke about, which is not easy. I really appreciate the clarity, the honesty, the vision you brought to this conversation. Thank you for your time. And before we sign off, if any of our listeners want to reach out to you, to your team, can you tell them what's the easiest way if a developer has a project and they want to talk to you, or if a buyer or an investor is looking for a project to talk to you? What's the easiest way? How
It's
do they
super
find
easy.
you?
They can contact me via email or they can go to the platform, create a free account. It takes like 30 seconds and we will contact them. They can contact us via the website form. We're pretty accessible. They can contact me via LinkedIn. It's easy to contact us. And also, I wanted to say thanks to you, Mohit, thanks for creating this podcast. I think it's amazing, but also for the job you are doing at Enerdatics. That's amazing. We love your platform. You already know that, but I have to say it in public. It's amazing, and I recommend everyone use it.
Thank you, Carmen. And this is a compliment for the entire team who sits behind me. Sometimes I just feel that I'm just the front face who gets a lot of undue credit. The credit goes to the 35 people who are actually working right now as you and I
Yes, I know.
speak,
My team is
right?
also working.
So, likewise. But of course, all right. Thank you, Carmen. And thank you for everybody for listening in, to Barrels and Batteries, brought to you by Enerdatics. If you've enjoyed the episode, please follow the show on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, wherever you listen to your podcast. Share it with a colleague who cares about the future of energy. This is Mohit Kaul. See you next time. Thank you.